So this is going to be Thief in the Forest of Weird. This is a Todd Sanders game from a couple years back. It's print and play. There is also, I'll see if I can put up the link for his Air Nothingness Studios professional print job. This is a very interesting game. It's taken me a few times to kind of really understand the rules, and you have to kind of almost go section by section, but you'll see what's going on, and I'll kind of get into everything. It's a very unique looking game if you're familiar with some of his other work. It uses some public domain art and repurposed. You'll see it's its own beast. We'll go there. So the rules, just showing you, are only 2 basically and a half pages. There we go. So I'm going to be referring to them off camera, but I wanted to show that the rules themselves are not the difficult part. It's more that you have to get a couple plays in for this thing to really start to connect with you. I'll go through setup, and I'll kind of throw a few thoughts there at the end. Now, you're going to see a bunch of cubes up here. Don't be intimidated by that. You can get this supply rather easily from I think there was like a learning resource, something like that on Amazon. It was like 100 cubes or something to that effect for like $10. It wasn't anything big. So first and foremost, let's bring this into play. You have 3 traits. You have red for strength, green for cunning, and yellow for luck. This is your stat card. As you can see, nothing at all really complicated about that. We're going to set that right about here. There we go. You have 6 gem cards. They do various things. You'll kind of see as they play out. This is shuffled, so it's not really something you really have to worry about. I'm just going to kind of put this, so they're shuffled. I'm going to put them out of camera, and I'll come to them when I need to come to them. Here is all the towers. They, as you can see, it's got very good that European, Dark Age sort of feel with the castles. I'm sure it's more Renaissance technically. I'm just not art savvy. These are going to get shuffled up. I'll show you where we deal these out, setting them off camera just for right now. The realm cards, I want to show you actually both sides just because the artwork's really awesome. So this is their map side. This is the side that shows when you're done with that realm. You're going to take these, shuffle them up, as I bump the camera, to what's called their action side. I will do that. Set them up here, and I'll slide some cubes around, stuff like that. I'll be making references as I go. So this is the order that they came out. That just is the way it goes. This is your encounter deck. It's a ton of cards. As I'm shuffling up. So as I'm shuffling, I'll try and go through real quick. You're going to be dealing this out. I'll pause and come back to 16 cards in 3 different piles. So let me do that, and we'll be right back. Okay, there we go. Sorry for bumping the camera. So we have our encounter stacks up there above each realm. Now, you're going to need either a mug or a draw bag. You want 4 red cubes, 4 yellow cubes, 4 green cubes. These white cubes will be called gems. There are 6 of these, and there are 4 of these black cubes. They're never good when they show up. You're going to call seeding the tower. So these just go in. I want to show that these were separated. Okay, there they go. And then the rest of the ones requested in the instructions are off here in the general supply off to the side. Now, as for 3 purple, it truly doesn't matter what color these are as long as they're distinguishable from everything else. I picked pink because I had pink. For your basic game, you're going to set them at the 20s. For the advanced, which I don't know who in their right mind thinks they're that good, you're going to put them at your 15. So for the sake of all this, just in range. There we go. Now, as you can see, these are a little bit larger than what they really want, so much as you can just kind of define what number you're on. I think these might be 12 millimeter. So you might want 6 millimeter for that. All right, now we're also going to take the tower deck. It would be 3 cards generally up there. I'm going to set them off to the side, and I'll kind of just show you what's going on. So our 3 tower cards, the rest of them here are face down. And we're ready to begin. What you do on a turn, on every turn, you have an encounter phase that's up here, and then a tower search phase, which will come into play here. So at the very beginning, you're going to take the 3 face-up towers, You pick one. Basically one you feel like you want to search through. They have these scroll icons and these key icons. I know, yeah, as you can see, you really got to get close for that to be a key icon, but we'll go from there. So let's take this one, Clear Fall. You would set it off to the side of your card. I'm going to slide this up for 1 sec, but you'll see why. So you set off to this side, locations go to this side, and the encounter cards are going to go here. I'm just going to slide this back out so I can have more room for the encounter itself. You put the 2 that you did not choose back there. You get from your face down stack a third one to put it back up. There's generally always going to be 3 there. Now, very importantly, you want to flip cards over in the order drawn. You're going to draw 4 of these for each tower. Now, I'll show you some artwork in a sec, but I want to establish the order of these cards and then what all this stuff means. So, first card's on the bottom. As you see me bending, it's not real cardstock. It's just, actually, it's technically cardstock, but it's not like plain cardstock. Very interesting art. You can see by the clarity of it. I had these professionally printed. They're not the ones from the website. These were done by myself and cut with as best as I could. Now, underneath, this is the evade number, cube that you're going to be adding to the bag, and then this banner type. I'll get into all these things in a second, but for right now, from the general supply, I need 1 yellow and 3 green to add to my bag. So I go to my general supply, 1 yellow, 1 green, 2 green, 3 green. I'm going to put those into my bag. You'll see what all this stuff is going on about. So, you encounter these literally in the order that they're out. You're going to see if there are any modifiers from the realm or if there's any locations that come up. If there's a location that comes up in the encounter, they get slid off here, and they're both good, bad, otherwise. We'll see where this goes. So we're in the Lion's realm. Basically, all you need to know is the red realm. All Guardians of the Watch, Soldiers of the Tower, and Knights, those are obviously different cards, encountered with the Realm of the Lion gain an extra +1 red banner for their evade strength while you travel through this realm. Okay. So first and foremost, these guys are always mean. They're just absolutely mean. You take this number and the card to its right, their banner. So this is going to be yellow. When you come to here, he'll grab the leftmost card's banner. That's a little complicated, but you'll see as this plays on, it works rather well once you get used to what you're looking at. So we'll go through his ability in 1 second, just so you get the initial value set up. I'm looking at a 5 yellow, and this says the Vodianoi. Yeah, I'm never going to get that. We're frog people. We'll switch the evade banner to whichever ability you're weakest in. If the abilities are tied, you may choose the banner. That's actually good. That means it's a 5 in anything to evade. Now, you will see there are tower icons here and here. Usually you want those in play. The other ones don't really matter. This icon up here is either going to be a key, obviously, or nothing, or a scroll. When you show up to these, you're going to either evade by paying points, or you can try to incapacitate. This is early on. I might be bold. I might actually take the 5 off of this guy. So I'll take the 5. Since I'm starting fresh, I can choose the 5. I only have 1 yellow. He says I can do whatever. I'll pay 5 yellow. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm down here at my 15. You can kind of see that. And then I go. So he's been evaded. I'm going to slide this over. We go to my next encounter. This one, let me pick this up so you can see it in shot. Draw 3 cubes from the tower. That's your bag. For each green cube drawn, add +1 green banner to this Guardian's evade strength. Place one of those green cubes back in the general supply. Place the other cubes back in the tower. So her current evade strength is 4 red. And then if I get any green cubes off that. So we go to our handy bag. Shuffle around a bit. I know you don't believe me. Oh, that did not go well. So +2, and they're going to go back. Now, the rules do not say anything about this. For right now, I'm just letting them sit there so I can kind of evaluate where I'm at. Obviously, you would resolve the card as written, but I'm just kind of pointing out a few things that make it easier for me to keep track. So it would be 4 red plus 2 green. We're going to have to try and knock this one out. So incapacitate. So I'm going to resolve this ability properly. These go back in the bag. This one's going over here into general supply. Incapacitate. You pay 1 of your choice. I'm going to choose 1 red since my yellow's getting a little low. You reach in your bag. You pick out 2 cubes. Blacks and whites go back in. Like those. They say put them right back in, but for the sake of just trying to make sure I don't draw them again, I'm just going to set them there, and I'll put them back in when I'm done resolving. There we go. So then these go back in. Red and green. I pay 1 for each of those. So down 1 green, down 1 red. Now this one's knocked out. Now, in order to try and maintain these things, I just kind of cock it off to the side. This effectively is out of play. So, for example, if this thing were to wrap around, this would not be considered in play for all that. These will go back to the general supply. Goes the next one. She's going to tell me to do basically the same exact thing. She's just going to be mean. Same thing with the green cubes. So I draw 3. This encounter text is resolved when you get to it in the row, unless it says otherwise. So, I didn't have to resolve it just yet, but I'm getting there. None. That's not terrible. So she's a 4 red. I like the key because the towers will use keys and everything else. I might try to knock her out. I'll pay 1 green, reach in my bag, draw 2 cubes. So I drew a white, I drew 1 red, let's draw a second one, I drew a green. So I pay 1 additional. Green, red, these go away. She's incapacitated, this goes back in, knocked out. Last one, so he's going to use this one's banner. Let's go here. So Guardian of the Watch, he is mentioned up here. So he gets +1 red banner for evade strength. Now, this is what kind of puts him in a predicament. So it's 2 green +1 red, that's 3, versus trying to pull cubes out of my bag. I think I actually want to pull the cubes because it's early enough. Now, you'll see I'm paying a fortune in this. Because either way, it's 3 payment. So I'm going to pay 1 yellow, pulling 2 cubes out of the bag. The white doesn't go. The yellow does. 1 yellow, 1 green. Boom. Boom. So our card's about there. This goes back in the bag. These go back in the general supply. All right, so as I bump the camera, I got to really get a better setup for this. We got to the end. We now go to the search phase. Is that what we're calling it? Survey says tower search phase. It's tower search phase. All right. For each tower icon, you're going to pull 1 random cube. Shake that up real good. And the camera, apparently. The camera's going to go with me. That is literally the best result we can hope for. This is a gem. You will take from our random stack a gem. Take this, and it just sits here. Now, your goal is to find all 6 gems before you run out of encounter cards or before you run out of stamina. We'll just call it that. Take this cube, set it on this card to show that you did it. The reality is nothing really refers to that as much. You probably could set it up there, but to be clean on the rules, we'll set this one right up there. Okay, now we resolve this. Any of the incapacitated, I did this slightly out of order. I'll try to do it better next time. Any incapacitated with an icon would go to your hand. So this one's going to sit off in my hand. I'll set this right here for 1 sec. The rest of these go off to the discard. If I can actually get there. Set that off camera. Okay. Next one. Next round. We go to our 3 face up. I'm not really putting a heck of a lot of thought in. Let's just take this one. Make things cleaner. Refresh that. This card is never going to be visited again. I just put it right over top there. Boom, done. I go up here. I draw 4. 1, 2, 3. Let's find a location just to kind of... Do I even have one in here? Wow, only 1 location. That's kind of... Actually, it wasn't even the next card. Look at that. I didn't even have to cheat to do it. 4. So a location can be defined because there's 2 cubes up there, and obviously it does not have an evade number. Locations go here. If you draw multiple, you discard until you get to the last one. Now, I'll add cubes equal to what they have and what they have there. So I'm going to be adding 1 red, 2 green, 3 yellow, and we keep searching. You're going to say, well, why does it matter what cubes I add? When you go into a tower search phase for this one, let's just say I evaded everyone. I walk away with 2 towers. This ability says I can pay a key. Each key in your possession that is used in a tower add +1, to your luck ability. So I would draw 2 cubes. Okay, well, double black is really bad, but it's not really illustrating my point. I draw, let's say, a black and a red. A black, if you're in the sun realm, that's here, it goes up here. Otherwise, you have to pay 1 of any color of your choosing, and this will go back into general supply. So it's just a penalty cube for the most part. I do that. Any color you draw can go onto a gem to empower it. Now, let's just look at some of these cards. This one here, empower it with 2 cubes. When you do, and once it's paid in full, it then allows you to have an ability. So that one has that. This one has it for red cubes. I don't know why my color's off like that. I don't know why. You'll have to trust me. My color is actually perfectly fine. This one doesn't have an empower. This one doesn't have an empower. This one does. There we go. So whether or not I empower these, they're still found. They still go up there. They still help me win the game. Now, when I draw a color, I may either put it onto a cube where it can empower, or I can put it back into the general supply and get +1 for that cube's color. So white, get you a gem. Black are a penalty. They either go up here to the sun realm or you take a point. The other colors can either be used to empower or add back to your stats. So you still get ways of getting back into your stats. Now, this is also still kind of a deck, actually a bag building game. I guess technically that would be the right term, but this time bag building is actually bad. You want to thin it out. Sort of like Coffee Roaster. Coffee Roaster is probably a pretty good example because you're trying to min-max and everything else, get stuff set up. Now, with this playthrough, I hope I basically explain the rules. Like I said, this is really simple. When this deck runs out, you flip this realm over. There we go. And you go on to the next realm. When that runs out, you go over here. If you're still breathing by the end of this and you haven't found the 6 gems, you lose. If any of these lines get to 0, you lose. If you find all 6 gems, you win. Very simple. There are, 12 towers? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, 12. Okay, so there are 12 towers because basically there's going to be 12 rounds. 4, 4, 4. The math works out. The one thing I'll say about Todd Sanders games, it's not that they depend on math, but the math, the balancing, almost everything works out. This is a very odd duck game. I don't even know the design contest. I got into Todd Sanders games after this one was already done. This is an odd duck. It very much rewards repeated play because you become more familiar with, at what point can I pay 5 versus paying the 3, going out the thin. Because as I go to incapacitate, I've already paid my point and I draw my 2 gems. Well, the blacks always go back in the bag. The whites always go back in the bag. The rest of these are getting thinned out. So, if this is really low, maybe I don't want to incapacitate, but at the same time, I'm still thinning the bag, meaning I have a higher chance of finding those gems. Now, incapacitating. If I incapacitate him for that icon, that tower icon, that search icon, is not going to be there. So it is very much you have to weigh things out. And then sometimes you just get big meanies that you either pay a lot of points to evade or you incapacitate and you go from there. Now, the deck is not always full of bad guys. There are a few. Let me see if I can find them. Location. Yeah, there we go. The really bad ones are what they're nicknamed forest spirits. Basically animals. They're just evil. There are stillness cards. So this just kind of sits with you. There are four sort of like sit aside powers that can help you out. They're not locations. They just come and sit with you to basically make it a little bit easier. There we go. And there are these Kaiju. Now, obviously, it's pretty close to Kaiju. You call it whatever you want. That's fine. They are beneficial. You do not have to evade them, and they'll stay there helping you search. There are not a ton of them, but they're basically helpful kind of forest spirits. Obviously, most of the deck is there to hurt you. The rest of the deck is there to, just kind of be there. The art is gorgeous. I would definitely recommend getting a professional copy done if your skills aren't up to snuff. I don't know how else to say it. It's a game that sits in my collection. Every time I'm like, oh, I don't like it that much, whatever. Then I play it and I'm reminded, like, oh, I could have done better. I could have, I shouldn't have paid all those points, or, oh, you might blame bad luck, but usually it's you made a tough decision. You incapacitated too many people. You didn't incapacitate enough. I very much like how this is balanced. The rules are at times on even some of these cards, you have to, I guess, almost hear yourself talk. And I understand that seems a very odd thing to say, but there are cards that say, draw cubes, return all gems to the bag. It doesn't show the white cube. So there are a few inconsistencies. Basically, that's about all I can say. There's a few little inconsistencies. I've never hit a rules problem. I want to emphasize that I've not hit a rules problem. Apparently, I've hit shaky cam problems the whole time. I've never hit a rules problem that can't be resolved by reading the card and playing it out. Now, one of the weird things is the phrasing here. So when it says possession used, that means that those incapacitated cards, there we go, like that guy, they just sit in your hand and travel with you. Them being incapacitated obviously is beneficial because you get that icon and you'll lose that icon, but you take them from tower to tower. This doesn't say to spend or discard. The rules say to discard. So just understand that if you decide to give this game a shot, when it says in your possession using this tower, that just means when you pay them from hand. That's basically what that means, when you pay them from hand. I think everything's said and done. I think the card count's about 70, I believe, if I remember reading my numbers properly. The cube count's a little rough. I'm not going to, take that from you. It says right here, you need 6 white cubes, 14 black cubes, 14 red cubes, 14 green cubes, 14 yellow cubes, and then 3 cubes to fit on here. It does say 8mm, and you can see that in the description whenever you buy cubes. Obviously, these are 12mm. They're too big. But finding the deal for these was pretty good. And this doesn't matter. The cube size for these doesn't matter. It's mostly for here. So if you don't mind moving around, that's not a big deal. Draw a bag, draw a mug. That obviously you can find that somewhere, just somewhere to blind draw. I think the game's really good. I think giving a shot would benefit you as a solo player, but I also understand that this is probably the most, this is the barrier to entry is this. But anyway, so I think, I keep saying that word. I hope you found this informative as to whether or not this game is for you. I also hope that maybe you try a few more print and play games as some of my other videos come out.